How's it going, everybody? This is Shopway48 here. Welcome back to another video. Today is the very last chapter of My Hero Academia, guys. We have hit 430 of this chapter, and it's a doozy. It's a real good doozy at this one, because everyone is pretty much moving on with their lives. The war is over. The whole drama's gone, so now they get to focus on what they do best, continue on their, what their school year. And I've seen this chapter many times. I see some pages on Twitter, and I gotta say, it's incredible. So, without further ado, guys, let's do this. Let's enjoy this last chapter of My Hero Academia.
But we got the 430 spoilers, and this is the final chapter of My Hero Academia. Pretty wild. And Izuku is losing his quirk, but also gaining, I think, a power suit. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but the chapter begins with Deku and Tomura's words: at the end of the war, you've already destroyed it. It will depend on what you guys do from now on. Deku repeats the narration from the first chapter, but with a few differences. People are not born equal. Each of us has a different form or shape, but despite that, we still care for others. And these differences, both internal and external, allow us to run towards other people and search for a point of intersection. Kota enters the teacher's room. Big bro Deku-sensei, where should we gather for the afternoon class? We then see that Deku is wearing a suit and writing in his notebook. This is the truth about society that I learned when I was 17. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. I think this is like a time skip. It could be 8 years possibly into the future. Not really sure. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But Izuku apparently becomes a teacher at UA. I'm pretty sure that's what the implication is here. And Kota, I guess, is one of his students, which is pretty cool. Kota finally joining UA, which we knew that he was destined for. That day, I heard everyone's voices, and that motivates me to this day. If caring for others is the first step to becoming a hero, then that day, everyone was the greatest hero. On this page, there are several panels showing a bunch of different things. We see Deku coming home and smiling at Inko, All Might helping Gran Torino to walk, the students taking exams, and during the sports festival, Mirko testing new prosthetics, Mount Lady and Kamui working together, Shoji and Kota shaking hands with the heteromorphic scientist, Tokuyami and Hawks talking, Aizawa and President Mike in a graveyard, Endeavor with his sidekicks, the students meeting Melissa, the League of Villains book being sold, Bakugo in rehab, Deku and Ochako together in the snow wearing scarves, and Compress reading the book, and Kota and Eri holding hands while Mandalay is looking proud. I was able to live a dream that should have been impossible. The story that began when my body moved before I can even think has come to an end alongside the embers of One for All. As Deku says this, we see panels showing the embers fading away little by little. So, yeah, we're seeing a whole bunch of things wrapping up here and coming to an end. And the main thing, I guess, is Izuku losing One for All and its embers. Like, I guess this shows that he can no longer use One for All. So he's pretty much back to being quirkless at this point, which, we talked about this a couple months ago with the final fight against Shigaraki, but the series is coming full circle here in more ways than one, but with Izuku starting off quirkless and then ultimately ending off quirkless. Like, he got One for All, buffed it up, got it to be as powerful as it needed to be to defeat All for One. Then he did that, and then he lost it. He kind of like took on a job for like 3 years. I think that's how long it took, right? Maybe even less than that, possibly. We see some panels of the graduation and how they followed UA's tradition, because Bakugo and Monoma blow up the stage right after Ida's speech. The narration then says, "Do you want to know why I'm still writing? Well, because there are still some pages left." 8 years later, we see Dai's classroom. The teacher asks the students what they want to become, and one of them says that he's going to be a hero. One wants to work in Hatsume's lab, one wants to become a great doctor like Dr. Yoshida, and one wants to join Labrava's company. So
some
Dai
different
is
options.
this new student that we're going to see a little bit in this chapter. Apparently, we already saw him in the series before. He was like this random kid holding an Endeavor like plushie, looking up at the
I think
All
I saw
Might
him in the end of
statue.
season 5.
One of the students sees that Dai wants to become a hero and says that he'll never make it with his quirk. He also says that there are fewer villains now and that the number of heroes has stabilized, so only the strongest kids have a chance. So that's pretty cool, actually, now that there are fewer villains due to like what happened with the war and the fallout of that and everything. There's not really a need for an excess of heroes like there was before. So now if you're going to become a hero, you have to be like elite. I guess it's almost like becoming a Navy SEAL in this world at this point, or close to that. Like you're not really going to get Monomas anymore. After school, Dai says that people have changed. When he was a kid, everyone wanted to be like All Might, Endeavor, Genius, Deku, or Dynamite. He feels that he's the only one still acting like a child and feels insecure about it, which is why he goes to the All Might statue. Cut to Shoji receiving the Imamura Award for his efforts resolving prejudice-based incidents in a peaceful way. He dedicates the award to all the heteromorphs who marched to the hospital 8 years ago and says that he's only here today thanks to their will. Next, we see that the Ingenium Froppy Creating Gravity team is visiting schools all over the country and that the Quirk Counseling expansion project created by Uraraka is considered one of the most essential aspects of today's society.
Okay.
Oh, so that's cool. Uraraka winds up making a Quirk Counseling project, and this, of course, inspired her
That's
because
pretty good of
she
her.
found out about Toga and how her upbringing led her to becoming who she was. And only if she had Quirk Counseling, she could have led a better path. So she's kind of doing this in wake of that. We see a panel of Eri with her friends from the music club. And Aizawa shows Deku a video of Bakugo screaming at a civilian for filming him too closely. Aizawa says that this will make him fall down the rankings and Todoroki will shoot ahead. Shoto patrols day and night and treats his fans very well. Recently, hardly anyone calls him Endeavor's son anymore. Deku says he'll pass Mount Lady, Kamui, and maybe even Mirio in the rankings. Also, Monoma and Hononuki's spots are great too. Aizawa asks if Deku doesn't feel lonely, and he replies that during Fuwa's talk with Aizawa in Chapter 425, he realized that he could use his knowledge and experiences to help other people, even without a quirk. He says that he thinks that's a cool way to live. Deku asks if Aizawa agrees, but Aizawa says that he should be stricter with the students. Nowadays, most students who enter UA think they've guaranteed to become heroes and make it big, so it's important to be strict so they don't get too arrogant. Deku says that he's barely seen his friends since graduation, since their days off don't coincide. On his way home from work, he sees official Tokugami products in Kirishima on the TV. Some children run around shouting "Unbreakable," but one of them stumbles. Then for the rest of this sequence, Izuku winds up talking to that Dai kid, and it ultimately ends with the chapter almost ending until All Might comes in and smashes through the end text. And he apologizes for the delay, and Deku says that he could have met him at the airport, but All Might wanted to give him a surprise gift. The data from his fight against All For One 8 years ago opened up many possibilities. Technology evolves just like quirks, All Might says as he holds a briefcase. Deku says that this must have cost a lot, and All Might says that it was developed by a friend of his from the US in Hatsume and financed by the Class A alumni, especially Bakugo. Take this to heart, kid. You've earned this power too, fair and square. So, this is really fascinating, and apparently this is a suit for Izuku to wear, because in the final panel we're going to see all of the students from Class 1A as they're adults, I suppose, and I think Izuku's wearing a suit. And I'll go more into this in my review tomorrow. But the suit is probably going to be like All Might's, Iron All Might suit, or whatever it was called. But I think it's going to have a longer shelf life than that. The final double spread in the series shows all of Class A students as adults in their hero costumes. This is the story of how we'll continue to reach out. Chapter 430 of My Hero Academia. So yeah, that's the end. And wow, pretty interesting ending. Feels a little rushed, but overall, I guess this whole epilogue felt a little rushed too. But like I said, I'll go over more of this in my...
Wow. Wow. That was a good chapter. I ain't gonna lie, folks. That was amazing. I mean, Who would have thought that Deku will receive a briefcase and get a power suit from All Might? It's almost like you're trying to get an Iron Man suit. I mean, even without a quirk, technology is a possibility for you to use, and you could just be like Batman, alright? I mean, Batman has no power. I mean, he just uses gadgets, he's wearing a suit, he's got equipment. I mean, Deku could do the same thing, and I'm happy that he has a briefcase that allows him to wear a suit and use power. That's just unbelievable. Even though he's a teacher, I'm shocked that he's a teacher. I didn't know if he was. I thought he was going to be a pro hero, but the only thing we're missing from this chapter is the confession is that if Deku is with Uraraka. That's the only thing we want to know. Is Deku, you know, pretty much boyfriend and girlfriend with Uraraka? Are there a couple? We're not really for certain, but if we had to guess, I think they are a couple. Maybe. I mean, they probably be still friends to the end, or they might end up having different relationships with each other. Who knows? I mean, it's a mystery. But there you got it, guys. My Hero Academia has finally come to an end on... Oh, this is the last chapter. The manga will totally end on August 5th. So, yeah. I tip my hat to you guys for those who are My Hero Academia fans. And My Hero Academia, I will literally gonna miss you on Crunchyroll. Even though this might be our last season right now, the show may be still going. By the time it reaches its final episode, that's history. Oh, I had so much fun watching chapter after chapter, reading mangas with you guys. It's unbelievable. I mean, who would have thought Horikoshi made something huge? Even though 430 chapters is a big number, but there are way other numbers besides this one. I mean, One Piece is still going, and pretty much other few anime shows are pretty much their end, but they're still going as well. And it's crazy. It's crazy. But with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys later. Hopefully there'll be other interesting things going on this manga chapter, or hopefully soon we might be seeing some other detail about it, but I don't know. All I know is for certain, this is the last chapter of My Hero Academia. So yeah, so see ya.